Welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. The PARCC test is still a source of controversy in New Jersey. The test is been mandated to measure implementation of Common Core, a federally mandated curriculum for our schools. But there are many people who don't want the test at all. They want the ability to opt out of the test. Susan Caldwell is one of those people. She is the executive director of Save Our Schools New Jersey Community Organizing. Thank you so much for being here. What is your problem with the test?
There are a number of problems that we have with the test. I think the biggest concern is the loss of instruction time to test prep, the narrowing of the curriculum, the focus on drilling kids into knowing how to game a test, if you will, understand the questions. We don't think that's authentic learning. That's our really biggest concern. We have concerns about the data that's collected from the test maker. We're concerned about who sees information about the students, whether it be their special needs IEP plan or information about where they live, that type of thing. And the cost. This was a huge unfunded mandate that came down on school districts in the form of implementing new curriculum in a number of districts that weren't already aligned to Common Core, and the technology costs. We believe that there was a lot of money expended. We don't know that exact number. We guess it's upwards of $500 million statewide. We've asked the Department of Ed for those numbers, and they insist that they can't calculate those. So we don't really know the answer to that question.
And your group is basically a parental group, mostly parents, and yet the PTA in New Jersey has come out in favor of the test.
Yes, the New Jersey PTA is very much.
How do you square that?
I don't know. I think they're best to speak on their own. I can tell you that the National PTA has.
But they're parents, right?
They are parents. They're parents. But I can tell you the National PTA has taken money from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Bill Gates is very much behind the Common Core state standards, and for whatever reason they decided to throw in with him. There are a number of stakeholder groups in our state who are pushing Common Core and PARCC, among them the New Jersey School Boards Association, the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association, the New Jersey Administrators Association, New Jersey Can, a litany of groups that have decided pretty much, I would say, on their own without consulting their members to throw in with the DOE on this.
There's been controversy in state after state after state. There's different standardized tests, but the common is Common Core. That's the common thread in state after state after state. Some people have a problem just with the testing, and they believe that another standardized test is too much. Their kids are being over-tested. You seem to have a problem with both, not only the test, but Common Core itself.
And no, really, our group hasn't taken a position on Common Core. We talked to our members about it. We're a very democratically governed organization, and so a number of our members didn't have a problem with Common Core. Some hated it, some loved it, so we left Common Core alone. We decided to look at PARCC because we were concerned about the stakes associated with PARCC. So if you don't get a good score on PARCC, or your school doesn't score well, teachers could lose their jobs, schools could be closed, students could be denied entrance into certain classes or the ability to get certain services. We think the stakes associated with the PARCC test is what's really the root cause here. We don't have a problem with standardized tests per se. Every once in a while we think it's a good idea. There is a gold standard in the United States called the NAEP, the National Association, or the National Assessment of Educational Progress, that's given in grades 3, 5, 8, and 11, and those scores correlate pretty much with every other standardized test that's given. So this idea of over-testing and punitively using the results is just not there with the NAEP. We believe in authentic learning and authentic assessments, and there are certainly lots of ways to assess students besides a standardized test. And you know, the department will say, well, this is the next generation, it's on computers, it's going to measure better learning, it's going to better measure learning. There are a number of educators out there who disagree with that, and there have been a number of papers published saying that it does no such thing. So.
Teachers have a problem with this as well, and their problem, and the teachers' unions have a problem with this because they believe this is a way of judging teachers unfairly, to find out if they are improperly teaching Common Core, and that there could be punishment because of that. Is there any proof of that? That would happen?
I don't know. I don't know that I'm the best person to ask that. You might want to check with the representatives for NJE.
Has anybody come out and said that they would be using these tests to judge the effectiveness of teachers?
Oh yeah. 10% of a teacher's evaluation now will be based on the PARCC scores, and that's slated to go up as the years go on. Yes, absolutely.
So their concern is based on something that they can look at in paper and say, look, this is how they're going to judge us, and that's not fair. And what would happen, you would think, if you extrapolate that, if a teacher finds out that I'm being judged by this test, they would teach just for that test,
Absolutely.
Which was part of the problem with No Child Left Behind.
Absolutely. It also raises the question of what classes teachers want to teach. You might want to only teach in a well-to-do suburban district, and you might want to teach the highest achieving students, because those kids are going to do well no matter what. Standardized tests basically measure family income. Every $20,000 of family income is another 100 points on an SAT test. We know that. It's not like it's telling us something we don't know already. We know the kids who are struggling. You overlay the chronic underfunding by this administration of our school district. Since he took office, $7 billion has not been put into the school funding formula, and add on these unfunded mandates. It's going to be a catastrophe this year with our schools.
We're out of time, but what is the next step?
The next step is to continue our campaign to inform parents and to push back against the bullying and coercion we see coming out of the DOE already. Parents are informing us that school districts are giving them incorrect information about the requirement to take PARCC. It's not a graduation requirement right now for students who are in high school. We are also looking to get the DOE to release the opt-out numbers. Our Department of Ed is one of the few departments across the country that has not released the refusal numbers. We believe they are huge, and that's why they're sitting on them. We believe that New Jersey had the second highest opt-out rate in the country, which is phenomenal when you think we're a little state of 8 million people. New York had 200,000 students. We're projecting we had just a little over 100,000.
Well, this is a story that's not going away, so as it continues, you'll come back.
Thank you.
Susan Caldwell, always asking if you would, so I assume that's a yes. Susan Caldwell, Executive Director of Save Our Schools, New Jersey Community Organizing. When we come back, recent deportation sweeps across the country create fear in New Jersey.